Hey there, guys and gals. I want to do a little segment here for our woods and water and windshield features that we have on YouTube and also on Facebook. And I want to talk about something that is really not talked about anymore. It doesn't seem like in this day and time. And I want to talk about it because I get asked a lot about how I go as hard as I go. Do 26 television shows for Jimmy Houston Outdoors every year. We do 13 television shows for Jimmy Houston Adventures, which is got quite a bit of hunting involved in it. I fish 6 or 7 or 8 national tournaments, plus probably a half a dozen charity tournaments throughout the year. And I do about 100 personal appearances. That's right, 100 personal appearances. We used to do about 130, but we cut them back a little bit. And I do crazy things. That's the amazing thing about it, is I do crazy things. As an example, this week, I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning a couple days ago, and I caught an airplane at 6 something, went to Charlotte, shot some video there for Shell and Quaker State and NASCAR for an upcoming race at Kentucky Speedway. And I got back home at 2 o'clock that morning, or the next morning, I guess you'd say. So that's a 23-hour day. I got up yesterday, the next day, and headed to Evansville, Indiana, to swap my brand new 2019 truck back in for my Ram Rebel that I'd swapped in about 10 days earlier. I ran into a little deer and did a several $1,000s worth of damage to that truck. And of course, they're going to fix it back up. And so I swapped trucks, and I'm now driving on up to Lake Champlain, where I'll fish the FLW tournament there at Champlain on next Thursday and Friday. I fly out of there on Sunday and go work about 3 more days for O'Reilly Auto Parts and Shell. And I've driven about 1,000 miles. Well, I've driven a little bit over 1,000 miles since I left home yesterday. I've got 738 miles to go to get to Plattsburgh, New York. It's 7:30 in the evening. I'm gonna drive till about 1 o'clock tonight. And this is kind of typical. This is some of the crazy stuff that I do. I'm driving 1,760 miles to fish 2 days, a tournament that I'm not even going to be able to practice for. But who knows? I might get a nice check in that tournament. I know I'm going to go up there and work real hard about it. And you know, people say, how do you do it? How do you do such silly things, you know? And sometimes they add at my age, and don't add at my age. Don't do that, because I'm just not going to let the old man in. My buddy Toby Keith wrote that song, Don't Let the Old Man In, and that's what I'm not going to do. I'm not letting the old man in. But, you know, we've been doing this for 50 some odd years. We've been running schedules like this. So what I want to talk about is mental toughness. Mental toughness is something that you kind of can develop at a young age. You have to learn mental toughness. It doesn't come with you like a singing voice or good looks or being tall or being short or being strong. Mental toughness is something that you have to develop. And I believe that everyone should develop mental toughness. Not many people try to develop it nowadays. We've got in an age of time where kids get participation trophies. If you just show up and play the game, you get a trophy. I've always been against that. Mental toughness is something that you learn. You know, I think I learned it back in high school playing athletics, playing sports. And, you know, I'm not a big, tough guy. There's no doubt about that. But mental toughness you learn. You just stretch and you go the extra mile. And it is something you have to develop and you have to learn. And I think you develop mental toughness. Listen, this is how I think you do it. I think you do it by having a positive attitude about everything. If you look at, like, I have 736 miles yet to drive. If you go, oh my gosh, it's a long way. You know, my legs are going to cramp up. My back's going to be hurting. I'm going to be so tired. I'm going to be sleepy. I'm going to have to drink a bunch of energy drinks, which I will. But you don't look at it in a negative manner. You look at it like, well, I've already driven over 1,000 miles on this trip. Man, I'm well down the road. I'm way down the road. And the weather's beautiful. I got interstates to drive on. I'm driving a fantastically great automobile, pulling a great boat. Wow, I'm just so fortunate to be able to do this. So you don't look at it from a negative standpoint. You look at everything as a positive situation, and that's how you develop mental toughness. You don't dwell on the bad, you dwell on the good. And I've heard it said that to get old you got to be tough, and maybe that's true too, because you do have things that don't function quite as well as they used to, things that hurt, a lot of things that hurt, a lot of places that hurt that didn't used to hurt. But in this day and time, you don't have to hurt. You really don't have to do it. They can keep you from hurting. But you just get mentally tough where you don't dwell on the bad. You dwell on the good, and you don't look at a 23-hour day as wow, golly, I got to put in a 23-hour day. You say, wow, I am so fortunate that I can go all the way to Charlotte and get back to my ranch in one single day. I don't have to take 2 or 3 days to do that. So that's how you develop mental toughness. And mental toughness is a big deal. And guys and gals, I recommend that you try to develop mental toughness. Work on mental toughness. Think about mental toughness. The next time that you want to think that you have a hard chore in front of you, or a hard drive in front of you, or a hard day at work, think about the positive aspects of it and not the difficult part. And be mentally tough in whatever you do. Mental toughness will overcome tons and tons and tons of obstacles. Give that some thought, guys and gals. Talk to you later.